Welcome to aminacademy.com. In questions, how, why, and what. In that, we'll discuss about why do the exposure of high frequency radiation harmful. We live in a generation that relies heavily on technology, whether for personal use or work. Wireless devices such as cell phones are commonly used around the world, and exposure to radio frequency radiation, that is RFR, is widespread, including in public spaces. We address that current scientific evidence on health risk from exposure of RFR, which is in the non ionizing frequency range. We focus here on human health effect, but also note evidence that RFR can cause psychological and or morphological effects on bees, plants, and trees. We recognize a diversity of opinion on the potential adverse effect of RFR exposure from cell or mobile phones and other wireless transmitting devices, including cordless phones and Wi-Fi. The paradigmatic approach in cancer epidemiology, which considers the body of epidemiological, toxicological, and mechanistic cellular evidence when assessing causality is applied. Now we'll discuss further about why do the exposure of high frequency radiation harmful. High frequency radiation, particularly in the radio frequency RF range, can be harmful because it can heat tissues and extremely high levels causes tissue damage or burns. Though the evidence for non-thermal effects at lower level is ambiguous. Here, more detail about the explanation. First, thermal effects. High frequency radiation, like microwaves, can be absorbed by the body and converted into heat. This heating effect, if intense enough, can lead to burns and tissue damage. Areas with less blood flow, like the eyes and testes, are particularly vulnerable to RF heating. The principle behind microwave ovens cooking food is based on this heating effect. Non-thermal effects, some limited evidence. At lower levels of RF radiation, the evidence of harmful biological effects is less clear and more ambiguous. Some studies suggest that RF radiations might stress cells, potentially leading to the creation of reactive oxygen species that could damage DNA. Ionizing versus non-ionizing radiation. High frequency radiations like X-ray and gamma rays are in the ionizing radiation part of the electromagnetic spectrum and can damage DNA or cells directly. Radio frequency RF radiation, on the other hand, is considered non-ionizing, meaning it does not have enough energy to ionize atoms or break chemical bonds. Potential health concerns. The International Agency of Research on Cancer, IARC, has classified radiofrequency electromagnetic fields as possibly carcinogenic to humans. Some studies suggest a possible link between long-term high-level exposure to RF radiation and certain types of cancer, particularly brain tumors. Other potential health effects including neurological, endocrinological, and adverse effect of fetal development. Current standard and recommendation. The current exposure standards recommended by the Federal Communications Commission's FCC and International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection primarily focus on thermal effects, tissue heating. Some experts and organizations recommended reducing exposure to RF radiations, especially for children and pregnant women, due to potential health risks. public and occupational exposure to electromagnetic fields due to the growing trend of electronic devices may cause adverse effect on human health. This video describes the risk of mutation and sexual trauma and infertility in masculine sexual cell by mobile phone radiation. We measured that emitted dose from radio frequency device such as switching high voltage at different frequencies using scintillation detector. The switching high voltage power supplies was built for the single photon emission computed topographic system. We investigated that risk and result from the waves according to report by International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection. To every organ of the body is defined by a beam and electromagnetic radiation from this electronic device on people. The results showed that the maximum personal dose over a 15-minute period working at the mentioned HVPS did not exceed 0.31 micro SV by H. The result of this study and International Commission of Non-Ionizing Research Protection, a report showed that people who spend more than 50 minutes a day using cell phone could have early dementia or other thermal damage due to the burning of glucose in the brain. Widespread harm from cell phone use. Many people are not aware of the harmful effect of the radio frequency waves RF and their role in cancer and other serious risks. Scientific evidence suggests that cancer is not only linked to mobile phone radiation and that other factors also may be involved in its development. Most mobile operators use the radio frequency waves in the range of 300 megahertz to 3 gigahertz that can be harmful for human health. While there is no conclusive evidence of widespread harm from cell phone use, some studies suggest potential risks like increased risk of certain brain tumors and mental health issues, while others show no association with health problems directly. Frequency Radio frequency radiation. What is that? Cell phones emit radio frequency radiation, a type of non-ionizing radiation which is different from harmful ionizing radiation like X-rays. The International Agency for Research on Cancer (IARC) has classified RF radiation as possibly carcinogenic to humans. Some studies suggest a possible link between long-term heavy cell phone use and an increased risk of certain brain tumors like glioma. However, other studies have shown no association between cell phone use and increased risk of brain tumors. Mental health issues. Excessive cell phone use and social media engagements can contribute to anxiety, stress, sleep disturbance, and feeling of isolation. Physical health issues. Prolonged screen time can lead to eye strain, headaches, and neck pain. Other concerns. Cell phone use can also lead to social disconnections, impaired communication skills, and dependency on virtual communication. So far, we discussed about the prolonged use of cell phone causes some. That means exposure of high frequency radiation is harmful. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.